This is KGW News at noon.
When you make the streets safe for us, you make them street safe for everyone. So if they're clear for people with disabilities, then they're clear for homeowners, they're clear for students, they're clear for shoppers downtown. It's a major step.
Emotional testimony as Portland City Council gets ready to vote on a lawsuit settlement over tents blocking sidewalks. Thanks for joining us this noon. I'm Brenda Braxton. We first told you about the settlement last week, and in just moments, the commissioners will vote on whether to approve it. 10 people sued the city last year, and several of them testified just about an hour ago. As part of the agreement, the city is promising big changes over the next 5 years. That includes spending at least $8 million in the next fiscal year to remove campsites that block sidewalks, a new 24-hour hotline to report sidewalk obstructions, and no camping signs posted in problem areas. The city also has to provide quarterly reports to the public showing that it's in compliance. The plaintiffs will also get $5,000 apiece. We will update the outcome of the vote on air on KGW.com and on our social media pages. This afternoon, City Council will vote on Mayor Wheeler's proposed daytime camping ban. Among other things, it would prohibit camping on all city property from 8 to 8 every day and would be in effect 24/7 in areas within 250 feet of schools, parks, existing shelters, and sidewalks. The changes adhere to a law passed back in 2021 requiring Oregon cities to update camping regulations by July 1st. KGW's Blair Best will be at City Hall today. We'll update you on what happens coming up on the news at 4. Right now, the House of Representatives is debating a bill to raise the debt limit. A vote is expected tonight, but there's no guarantee it's going to pass. More than 30 House Republicans say they'll vote against the measure because it doesn't cut spending deeply enough. Some Democrats are also opposed. Here's what the two-party leaders had to say earlier today.
Everybody has a right to their own opinion, but on history, I'd want to be here with this bill today.
And that I support it without hesitation, reservation, or trepidation. Not because it's perfect, but in divided government, we of course cannot allow the perfect to be the enemy of the good.
The 99-page bill suspends the nation's borrowing limit until early 2025. In exchange, there are spending cuts and new requirements for certain people getting SNAP benefits. Lawmakers have just 5 days left to send the bill to the president's desk or risk the country running out of money to pay its bills. An early morning fire torched an office building in southwest Portland. It took firefighters from 3 different agencies to put it out. This is the Colonial Office campus on Southwest Barber Boulevard near Luradell Street. Portland Fire tells us drivers spotted the fire and called it in just before 3:30 a.m. When they got there, the flames had spread through the building and some of the roof had collapsed. Firefighters explained what it took to get water to the scene.
Thousands of feet of hose out here on the ground, and just getting all those in place it's just a time-consuming, tricky situation.
The good news is, though, no one got hurt. An armed robbery suspect died during a shootout with Vancouver police. All this played out in a Safeway parking lot. A viewer sent us video of what happened. Now, you won't see anyone get shot, but you will hear the sound of gunfire, and some people may find it disturbing to watch.
Oh my God.
Officers say that man was wanted for multiple robberies and they spotted him driving nearby. They say after he parked, he went into the Safeway store. When he came out, they report he pulled out a gun and started shooting. At that point, officers say they shot back. No law enforcement officers were hurt. Now to a traffic alert for drivers in Tigard and Beaverton. Starting tomorrow, the on-ramp connecting northbound 99W and 217 North will close for 2 months. The diagram there shows the area we're talking about. This is part of the auxiliary lanes project on 217. The goal is to reduce bottlenecks. ODOT says if you drive that way, there will be a detour, so plan ahead. Okay, let's talk weather on this final day of May. Rod, we're going to stay dry, and that means a new record.
That is correct. Here's the way we look right now. We have some breaks in the cloud cover, just not seeing much currently. Looking over downtown Portland, we are at 62 degrees. But today's dry forecast, which is a certainty through the midnight hour, brings us to this. Today will become the 16th consecutive dry day, and that will become the longest such streak in the month of May since records have been kept out of PDX, breaking the old mark of 15 straight days back in 1995 in the month of May. Total May rainfall, and this is where it's actually, I think, of more importance. I mean, the record's something to talk about, but 0.91 inches is the way we'll wrap up May. Normally we get 2.51. And the problem is we haven't had much in about 3 weeks, and there's not much rain out there on the horizon. In fact, if you go back to May 9th, we've only had 3/100th of an inch. June outlook, less than an inch. A normal is 1.63. A normal July would be 1/2 of an inch. A normal August would be about the same. And if you add all that up, are we now in the dry season? Because from this point forward all the way into September, we may or may not see 2 inches of total rain. So things are going to continue to get dry, and we'll have more on this coming up with your 7-day forecast shortly.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Rod. Vancouver police say they're looking for help finding information about an unsolved homicide. Back in 1997, the body of 17-year-old Carl McConnell was found on Divine Road. His case has been active for 26 years with no suspects. We talked to his younger brother, Matthew, who was also a teenager when the crime happened.
But the biggest thing for me is I want my mom to have closure. You know, I couldn't even imagine. As a father myself, I couldn't even imagine losing a child, you know, especially in that fashion. So more than anything for her, I want the closure.
Crime Stoppers is offering a cash reward of up to $2,500 for information about this case. And remember, if you call, you can remain anonymous. Today, a progress report on removing graffiti on a historic downtown Portland building. Jackson Tower overlooks Pioneer Courthouse Square, and Joe Ranieri was up there with the cleanup crews. Here's a peek at the process and what it looks like now.
The Jackson Tower building, with its iconic clock tower and glazed tiling, is one of the most historic buildings in downtown.
So we're going to do it brick by brick, stone by stone.
And now it's getting cleaned up, thanks to these guys. This building has been getting hit by vandals spraying it with graffiti for the last couple of years. Now, Paul Watts, owner of Graffiti Removal Services, who was hired by the city of Portland, is responsible for cleaning it up.
The longer it stays up, more tagging will appear after that. You know, if you don't take care of one piece of graffiti, another one appears, another one appears.
And it's a job.
I'm not a seasoned pro at climbing, but that's why we hired a professional company to harness me off.
That's not an easy task.
Got it.
Especially as the city sees more complaints about graffiti. In 2020, they received just under 900 complaints. In 2021, more than 2,100. It jumped to over 5,000 last year. And so far this year, closing in on 2,200 complaints. There you go. After he's strapped in, Watts has to then climb out onto the ledge to start scrubbing.
Which is a biodegradable, non-toxic product. We spray it on there. It'll actually dissolve the layer of spray can, ink pen marker, or Sharpie marker, dissolve it, and then we just wipe it off.
In some parts of the building, the job is a little easier, where they just have to put on a fresh coat of paint. But how does someone climb 140 feet and do something like this? The Jackson Tower in downtown Portland is 12 stories high, and if you're wondering how do the taggers get up this high, well, they use the fire escape.
They'll put a grappling hook up there, and they'll pull it down with a grappling hook, and that counterweight will come down, and it'll give them the ladder, and then they just scurry up the ladder.
But it'll soon be almost impossible to try to scale the building.
Another contractor is coming out and kind of barricading off some areas, removing some areas so the taggers or scratchers, they call them, cannot get back up onto the building, hopefully.
As Watts and his crew scrubs tirelessly,
sometimes we feel like we're chasing our tail, but we know we're doing a good thing also.
He knows his hard work will pay off in the end. In downtown Portland, Joe Ranieri, KGW News.